Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. JC here with another video on Taimanin. Today we're gonna check some builds for Total War, but before we start, don't forget to leave a like, share and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Also, I might be doing less content from now on. I'm still going to do the most important things and review everything that's new, but I have some things to take care of, so it is likely that I do less content, just so that you know. Anyways, let's go to to Total War here, and let's check very quickly. This is the formation I'm using, but if you are F2P, you probably want to use the name of Fuma. Though these are gacha supporters, they are permanent gacha supporters, and it gives a pretty decent effect by increasing the damage, reducing the damage taken. It also increases damage, but it's not the most consistent things because of the debuff requirement, which gets diminished on its duration against this specific boss. If you're able to get this formation, this is pretty good because it increases damage of melee attacks, and I'm using a total of melee attacks. So I'm going to do two formations. One that is extremely F2P and only relies on a couple gacha supporters, and this one which is for someone who already has like 2 years in the game and already has a certain amount of permanent gacha supporters. So starting with this one, we're gonna use Inagi Natsu as our damage dealer and also as a supporter because she's pretty proficient at that role. So we're gonna use the Yamaraha. This is an excellent weapon. The crit weapons are really useful. They increase your damage by a ton. I'm going with triple critical damage increase, and we want an element that gives us damage increase, either water or fire, but I recommend fire the most. Then we put whatever critical megatamas on the sub slot, whatever weapon on the sub slot, 5 out of 5, plus 14 and plus 13. And as you can see, this is F2P equipment. This is PvP, this is an SR actually. So it is not that difficult to get after a year or two. Because, I mean, this is not a mod that you want to tackle immediately. I mean, you can just to grab whatever amount of points you can, but you're not going to be getting the most amount of points right away. So we use Shattering Blow to increase, to deal a ton of damage, but not only that, it synergizes perfectly with our strategy because we're doing a lot of crits, and this gets the critical damage increase. We also use Thunderclap to get an attack buff, and it's also a decent damaging skill, not like a triple color skill, but it's useful. And Restoration Smoke for the utility. If you have the fourth slot, you can equip Power Release to increase your damage, which is useful to say the least. Then for supporters, as I mentioned, we are gonna use only permanent gacha supporters. We can also use F2P supporters, but no seasonals, no limited equipment, not anything. So this you can get at some point if you continue to play. So we have Suruga here on the main because she deals a good amount of damage with the active, and we need Suruga to increase our critical rate and to increase the critical damage. Akane and Kaoru are going to deal a ton of critical damage, and the stats of the customs, the stats of the stat training, and let's go to Asusa. Asusa is a pretty strong character, everyone knows that. With the critical rate increase of her leader skill, she's able to crit pretty easily, so that's nice. So for the weapon, we're using Leyline, which is another SR with anti-demon trait, which is excellent on this mode. Then we have a whatever weapon, 5 out of 5 plus 13. We use again Fire Megatamas with whatever Megatama on the last slot, obviously all of them anti-demon. Whatever Megatamas on the sub slot. Then, right now, the familiars are not working properly, but Grammar is going to fix that. They already mentioned that. And I'm applying then Shadow Spirit, Shadow Sprint, Gale Slash, and Dragonfly. But you can change this for Shikigami maybe after the maintenance. So keep an eye on that. And now for supporters, we're using Yukina to increase damage. Also Baretta to increase damage because we're gonna crit. And lastly, we have Mai. Mai has double utility because our character has healing skills, but I'm not using them. So instead, I'm relying on this to get the healing on the active. We also have other ways to heal the team, like as I mentioned, Shizuru, and that's pretty. Not Shizuru. Natsu, Inage Natsu. But even so, we want the ability to restore HP. You don't have this. What other things you can use? You can use Stella. You can use Arika. There is also Homura, but here you don't want to take extra damage if possible. So be careful with Homura. There's also the ability to use Momochi Nagi. And yeah, that's kind of it. So be sure to equip whatever you can. We have the stats of the customs, the stats of the stat training, and lastly we have Shizuru over here. For Shizuru, we're gonna use the PP weapon because I don't have a better weapon than this. Actually, I have the limited equipment here just because it's the only one that I have 5 out of 5 and plus 15. The other ones are not at the rightest level and they are not enchanted, so I'll just put it on the slots on the sub slot as a beat stick. But the effect comes from the main weapon and we don't have it on the main weapon. Besides, we're not going red. It could also be a beat stick on the main. Then we're using these Magatamas, obviously anti-demon, water and fire to increase damage. Super important. Then whatever weapons on the sub slot. We're going blue, so we're gonna use Plant Invade, Whip Shot, and Plant Wall. You can substitute either Whip Shot or Plant Wall depending on what you want. I would recommend Plant Wall for Sprout Garden if you need more healing. I don't think I need more healing, but maybe that's not the case for you. So substitute this for Sprout Garden or use it on the 4th slot depending on what you have. So for supporters, I have Arabella and Onigumo because those are the best supporters, the best F2P supporters that we can use here. And we have Saya here on the main because Saya is going to increase our critical. And with the amount of multi-hits that this character has is actually appreciated. Melee attack has 5% chance to increase critical rate, not critical damage, by 30% for 4 seconds. Which is still appreciated because it's on melee attacks we get critical rate, and this is a range attack, but its effect, its damage increases on critical. So by increasing our critical rate, we have more chances of dealing more damage with this skill. So it's still appreciated. Most of Shizuru's attacks are gonna be melee. I mean her basics and whip shot, but I think it is good enough. Even so, the main reason I'm using this is because of the damage increase, which is appreciated on melee. Then customs, stat training, and there we go. Let's test how good this is. You don't need to do as a million damage, I think, to get all the coins, but we'll try to go as far as possible and as F2P friendly as possible. This one is not precisely F2P friendly because we're using gacha supporters, but they're standard gacha supporters. They're permanent, they're always there, and it's likely that you're gonna be able to grab some copies of these supporters throughout your time in the game. So let's see just how much damage we can deal. Yeah, I don't know about Deathwing's duration. Like, it says that it reduces the duration of debuffs, but it also kind of like cleanses them from time to time, or they just disappear. It's kind of weird. Because I say cleansing because we can see the stacks of puncture over here, and the stacks are not diminished, they are not reset, which is weird. So yeah, That's odd. I have to do more experimenting on this or discussing with others so that I discover how this actually works. Then, okay, we're not gonna deal that much damage, but I think this could help you out to reach the ah the metal coins, the metal coin goals for the week. So yeah, the idea is that we just do as much damage as possible and try to be try to reach the goal. Oh my god. But there's always, as you can see, risk at this because the AI doesn't know what to do and it might just die. Yeah, it died. Yeah. So as I mentioned, if you need more HP recovery, which in my case I need more HP recovery, we can just substitute the plant wall for the sprout garden so that we heal. I'm actually going to do that, and I'm going to show you the other build because since we have 3 runs, we can do that. By the way, guys, if I needed the sprout garden, you are definitely going to need it because I have my awakenings maxed out, and even that wasn't enough. So let's see how much points we got. Oh, okay, 500,000, not bad. This could be useful enough for you to get all the points. Let's see. So I'm just going to do this plant wall, and I put sprout garden, and there we go. Nice. And let's do it again. Oh, but before, let's check those awakenings. So for awakenings, what do you want? Let's say that you're working on your awakenings, and yeah, preferably you have them all, but realistically speaking, it's not gonna be the case. So which are the ones that you want to prioritize? Battle stance, machine specialist, human specialist, demon specialist, melee offensive, range offensive. Then their counterparts on the defensive department. On defensive, machine resistance, demon resistance, human resistance, arena defensive, melee defensive, and range defensive. After that, what do you want? Preferably the critical damage increase, because the mode allows us to crit, so critical damage melee and critical damage range. Then we continue with these ones. We continue with critical chance range and critical chance melee, and we go then to let's see. Here I would recommend HP. Where is HP? Combat endurance, increased total amount. Combat endurance and rapid healing is an option. Rapid healing is an option that you may want depending on how much you heal with your characters. And then you can go with these two. With these 4, the critical defensives, both chance and damage reduction. And then you can go for piercing, for fortitude, for leadership, and the rest at the very end. So let's try this one more time, but this time we're not going to die. Not with Natsu. So yeah, let's see. God, the amount of debuffs. Yeah, it's doing fine for the most part. Come on, Shizuru, do your job. Yeah, perfect, healing. Yeah, with this, it's not going to be as devastating, but remember that I'm able to do this specific build because I have my awakening skills. Other players might need more damage reduction to be able to survive, and I'll see if I can get some help to do other builds on different accounts with different levels of strength so that we have more samples of how to tackle this, just so that everyone is able to get the points. We honestly do not bother about the ladder what really matters is getting those points so that you're able to claim the rewards. That's about it. And notice that the AI is not smart enough to pick the roses. That's a real disadvantage over here. The AI needs to be improved tremendously. Because, for example, Murasaki doesn't use Setsuga, which is her all blue skill. Or I have tried to use Setsuga, but she doesn't. And that's why her damage output is so low. I have tried to do other things, and the AI sometimes is pretty silly, but sometimes it's really proficient. Like Spinel's AI is extremely good. The AI usually does the combos right, so that she puts demonic arm detonate at the very end, so that it deals the most damage, and I like that. So yeah, let's hope that Gremory works on the AI. If they want us to do this, and they're most likely not going to allow us to do this mode manually, they need to improve the AI. Forcing themselves to improve the AI by applying this, I mean, it's something. Okay, it did more damage, as you can see. So this can be very useful, but the most useful and FTP friendly strategy is going to be with demon characters, and I already showed you something pretty similar, but let's go with, where is she? Well, I'm just going to put the filter for demons, and here she is, Spinel, then Phantasma, and lastly Lapis. Why Lapis? Honestly, if you're strong enough, you don't need Lapis, and you can substitute it for something else. But I'm working under the assumption that people are having troubles with survivability. So, number one, we're gonna use Spinel. We do this. I'm gonna just load everything super quickly because it is kind of the same gear that I had before, so I have to load it. And let's see. So, Spinel has to use the Wicked Star Canna Blade. This is an F2P weapon, believe it or not, because everyone can get it as long as you do BR. And just save your coins so that you're able to grab 2 copies on the weeks that Canna Blade is available. You can grab one. How can I say this? The store gets resetted at Sunday, so you have 2 chances of grabbing Canna Blades. So that's why. And it's really useful because this enhances a triple color skill, and the best triple color skill because blue gives a ton of attack buffs. So that's why Spinel is so high on the ladder, and that's why you want to use Spinel. Not only because of the excellent damage increase and damage reduction against Demos, but also the effect on Demonic Arm Detonate and the buffs on blue. That's kind of it. So obviously we have anti-demon, water, and fire. Whatever Magatama on the subslot, whatever weapon on the subslot, and I'm using a PP weapon. And it's at plus 13 because this is kind of the goal that F2P should try to get. Going to plus 15 is only recommended for the most busted weapons and using the enchant boosters, the good enchant boosters. Then here we have Demonic Arm Detonate, Pierce Thirst, and Crystal Shard Burst. All of these are going to give you damage increase, and that's why we want to use Canna. Canna is an excellent supporter. It is unfortunately gacha, but try to grab this. Try to use your rotation gacha coins on blue to get this. It is amazing. And if you have it, well, take advantage of it because you're going to get a damage increase based on the amount of buffs that you have. And Spinel naturally gives herself buffs not only because of the color but also because of the leader skill. Then we have, of course, Oniguma and Arabella to increase your damage. If you have something better than that, be sure to use it, but honestly this is pretty F2P friendly until we get to Canna because she's gacha, but it is permanent at the very least, which is not that bad. The stats of the customs, the stats of the stat training, I mean it's a Spinel, obviously she's maxed out, she's pretty strong. Then Phantasma. For Phantasma we have the PvP weapon because I don't have a better weapon. I mean, of course I have better weapons, but I try to avoid gacha weapons right now. So we have this on the sub slot. This is actually better. If you have the Momochi weapon, it is super useful and you want to use it because it's going to increase your damage tremendously. But even so, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. I mean, it does, but we're not going on green right now. And other weapons are not that impactful, so that's why we use this. Obviously, anti-demon, water and fire to increase damage, whatever Magatemas on the sub slot. Then we have crunching fear to recover HP. We need as much HP recovery as possible. Slash horror to get near the enemy so that we inflict the defense reduction. And Succubus Whisper just to increase the damage of our allies. Super important. And on ready gives an additional damage increase, so that's going to be really impactful. You can also use Slash Claw instead of Slash Horror. No, Dream Claw instead of Slash Horror. So keep that in mind. And then supporters, Stella, Shirayuki, and I have Lina over here, which is the best supporter for damage when using a demon against another demon. But if you don't have that, you can go with something as simple as Arika or Homura. Of course, Nagi is a really good option, and using this one is nice, really nice with Phantasma, but it's limited, so I'm not exploring that possibility right now. And yeah, that's kind of it. That's the kind of supports that you want. If you don't have anything else, you can use this as filler, because it's going to give you a little bit of damage reduction, and that's really useful. Stats of the customs, stats of the stat training, and lastly we have here Lapis. For Lapis, we're going to be using this weapon. This is our weapon, which is an anti-demon, so it's pretty useful. Whatever demonic Magatemas that you have. Then whatever Magatemas, whatever weapon. Remember, you want to be as strong as possible, doing as much S levels and as much copies. But you can use PvP equipment for the subslot. It's pretty proficient, trust me. The PvP weapons are the best for F2Ps. Then we use Spear Barrage, Gem Support, and Moral Boost. But if you need more healing, you can use Piercing Dash instead of Spear Barrage. But that's gonna depend on you. You have to check your performance. Then I am using Lilim along with Arabella. And on the last slot, I'm using Heaviko. But if you don't have Heaviko, there's two good supporters, two F2P supporters that you can use in the form of Sakuya and Nana. Sakuya and Nana are pretty good because they give you damage reduction, and that's going to allow you to survive. But we want more damage, that's why I'm using Heaviko. As I mentioned, it is as F2P friendly as possible while trying to keep damage. And that's why I allow myself to use permanent supporters, permanent gacha supporters, because you always have a chance to get those. And Grammar had been more kind with the coins lately, so it is not that big of a stretch to use permanent supporters. Then we have the stats of the customs, stat training. Obviously she's maxed out, she's Lapis, you use it everywhere. And let's do the last run just to see how much damage we can deal with this F2P friendly build. Yeah, it's gonna take some time for you to build the Kana Blade if you don't have it, but it is not that bad. Besides, we just received a ticket and you can grab one copy of Kana Blade. So, honestly, Kana Blade is kind of the strongest weapon right now among all the VR weapons, just because it enhances a triple color skill that's pretty busted. And the color it enhances already gets a ton of attack buffs, so it's gonna deal amazing damage. Even if you're not fighting against a demon, it is pretty useful. So let's see. Yeah, I think that we might be able to deal the million damage. We might. It depends on the performance of the run. Sometimes things get mixed up and you get interrupted on the wrong moment, but let's see. And sometimes the skills are not on the right AoE, on the right range, sorry. But let's see how good this goes. So, okay, good. Can we ulti? And they need to stand up faster, the AI. Why do you stay down when they knock you down? God, that's good. Okay. 30 seconds. One ultimate almost ready. Use more demonic arm. Detonate! Yes. Okay, I think it's doable. Very doable. Yeah, we're reaching that million damage. And done. There we go. So I think that this should be more than enough for you to get the Mettle Coins. Yeah, it is not... How can I say it? It is going to take some time for players to get everything necessary to do this much damage. But honestly, I'm using here SR weapons, I'm using F2P supporters, and if they add the archive and allow us to grab the F2P supporters, we're gonna be able to strengthen ourselves pretty well so that anyone can grab the Mettle Coins, these Mettle Coins, the 1,000 Mettle Coins from normal mode, and the 2,000 Mettle Coins from relay mode. Relay mode is gonna be a little bit more difficult, but honestly, like a big chunk of the damage you do is going to come from the same team. Like if we go to relay mode, this is the team that I used to get my high score on normal mode, and I'm still using it and it's dealing the most damage. So be sure to focus on acquiring the strongest characters. I mean, you can also focus on whatever characters you want, but if you want to grab the rewards and participate in these modes, you're gonna have to optimize things so that you have the kind of strongest combinations that characters can do. That's why I have Phantasma, Lapis, Astaroth, and Spinel. Right now, Demon teams are the strongest. But Humor teams are starting to look pretty good, trust me. So well, anyways, that's about it, guys. I hope you find this useful, and I'll be seeing you next time. Bye!